Welcome to Economic Growth Path, where we dismantle popular myths to reveal the raw mechanics of true financial success today. We are often told that failure is the mother of success, but is this actually true or just comforting lies? Society romanticizes hitting rock bottom, yet the reality is often a devastating loss of time, capital, and precious mental energy. Today we explore why failure is not a prerequisite for wealth, but rather a dangerous trap you must avoid entirely. The biggest obstacle to learning is the ego, which prevents us from analyzing our mistakes objectively and moving forward quickly. Most people do not learn from failure because the emotional pain causes them to retreat rather than analyze the data. Consider the entrepreneur who goes bankrupt. Statistics show they are statistically less likely to ever start another business venture again. Trauma from significant financial loss creates fear, paralyzing your ability to take the necessary risks required for future wealth creation. Your brain is wired to avoid pain, so it categorizes the failed venture as a danger zone to avoid forever. Instead of gaining wisdom, the average person simply quits the game entirely, leaving the market open for those who survived. We must stop pretending that losing everything is a noble step. It is often just a painful delay in progress. Time is your most valuable asset, and spending years recovering from a disaster is time stolen from compounding your success. The truth is that if you succeed after failing, you succeeded in spite of the failure, not because of it. Failure is essentially a waste of resources that could have been deployed to accelerate a working model or proven strategy. Building a business on a solid foundation without collapsing first is always superior to rebuilding from a pile of rubble. The most successful investors in history try to avoid losing money at all costs rather than learning how to lose. Smart players focus on defense first, ensuring they stay in the game long enough to capture the winning market opportunities. Do not confuse the resilience required to survive a crash with the strategy required to avoid the crash in the first place. A surgeon does not need to kill a patient to learn how to save one. They learn through careful study. Similarly, you should simulate failure in your planning phase so you never have to experience the destruction in real life. Let us look at the famous story of Colonel Sanders, often used to romanticize the idea of endless rejection. We hear he was rejected over 1,000 times, but we rarely discuss the massive inefficiency of his initial sales pitch. Motivational speakers use this story to sell hope, but they fail to teach the business adjustments he actually had to make. The legend focuses on his persistence, ignoring the fact that a better strategy could have saved him years of struggle. Being rejected 1,000 times is not a badge of honor. It is a sign that the market hates your offer. The lesson should be to pivot quickly after 5 rejections, not to stubbornly bang your head against a closed door. We must stop glorifying the struggle and start valuing the efficiency of finding product-market fit without decades of painful suffering. Today's fast-paced economy does not forgive slow learners. You need to iterate rapidly based on data, not blind faith. We must distinguish between failure and process, as the difference lies entirely in your remaining capital and ability to continue. If an experiment fails but you have the budget to run another, that is just part of the scientific process. However, if you bet the farm and lose everything, that is true failure, because you can no longer play the game. Never put yourself in a position where a single negative outcome wipes out your ability to execute the next move. Structural failure is terminal, whereas a cosmetic crack is something that can be fixed while the building still stands tall. Your primary job as an entrepreneur is to manage your runway, ensuring you never run out of fuel mid-flight. When you lose your chips, you lose your seat at the table, and no amount of lessons will buy back in. Treat every setback as data to be analyzed, but ensure the cost of that data does not bankrupt your future. So what is the alternative to failing? It is the strategic prediction of the worst-case scenario before it ever happens. You must visualize everything that could possibly go wrong and build robust defenses to mitigate those specific risks immediately. This is not pessimism. It is professional preparation that allows you to operate with confidence, knowing you have a safety net. Professional investors do not hope for the best. They hedge their bets to ensure survival, even if the market crashes. Fix the flaws in your business plan on paper, where it is cheap, rather than in the market where it is expensive. By controlling the downside, you effectively remove the fear of ruin, allowing you to make clearer and bolder strategic decisions. The goal is to navigate through the storm without sinking, not to brag about how many times your ship sank. Secure your base first, and then you can launch your attacks on the market with aggression and calculated precision. This brings us to the concept of asymmetric risk, the secret weapon of the wealthy to accumulate massive fortunes safely. You want to find opportunities where the potential downside is capped at 1, but the upside is 10 or more. Investors love startups because they can only lose their initial investment, but the returns can be 1,000 times greater. Stop gambling on 50-50 outcomes and start hunting for scenarios where the math is heavily skewed in your favor. Plant many small seeds with limited cost, knowing that just one successful tree will cover all the losses and more. Patience is key here. You wait for the perfect shot rather than spraying bullets and hoping to hit a target. Success is not about how much pain you can endure, but how smartly you can navigate the path to wealth. Thank you for watching Economic Growth Path. Subscribe now to master the strategies of the elite and secure your future.